The other thing you can do to make it friendly particularly to Google is to create a Google XML sitemap. This is something that's designed particularly for the Google robot when it goes out looking for websites. It gives them a little bit of a map to let them know what's on the site and what they should be looking at. One of the other things that is useful for SEO is knowing who's coming to you and why. And so that means you need to do some form of analytics. I have two sets of analytics set up on my site. The first is something called WordPress.com stats. It lets me know, and I've only just installed this, so I have a total of 13 views and 1 point of data, but it tells me things like where are people linking to my site from. So they've been to this one, to my home page, to a couple of old blogs. Here's the terms they're using to search for it. Home Depot, cashier, terminate. Yikes. Asian art class, nude models, CFNM. Also yikes. I don't know how I've become an authority on CFNM. What can one do with a PhD in communication? And why they're asking me, I don't know. But you get the idea. So this is great. Another popular analytics, probably the most popular analytics system is called Google Analytics. And it can be overwhelming in many ways because it lets you do some really interesting stuff with figuring out where people have been. And so you need to have a site, you need to have an account on Google, of course. I probably will have to fuzz out some of that. We'll have to decide. You'll notice that I have kind of, here are the visits, not very many every day because I don't keep up with my blog anymore. And then it went shoom to 0 or 1 for a long time. I think part of this is that when I changed the theme, I lost you have to have a little snippet of code in your site for it to track on it. And so I think it pulled it out, and I put it back in now. But we can do some more historical work here and go back to, say, I don't know when I installed Google Analytics, but let's go back like 3 years. And this gives me, an overall time that people have been seeing. This is a good day, 4,300 hits, and this is a normal day, like 100 hits. When these aren't hits actually, but visits, people coming to the blog and reading. But that's the basics. But then you also can see where people are coming from in the world. I can find out about visitor loyalty, how long they stay. I can find out what kind of browsers they're using. Most of the people visiting my site still are using, as you can see, Internet Explorer, although there's lots of Firefox users. So this gives me a lot to work with in terms of finding out what's going on, but you do have to get an API, and then you need to set it up with a plugin. And so we need yet another plugin. And in this case, I'm using Google Analyticator. That's a little harder to say than it is to read. I'm using something called Contact Form 7, which is a popular contact form. If I go to my site, you'll see I've got a contact here, and people can fill out a form and it will email me. That's always a nice thing. You'll remember exclude pages from navigation lets me do just that, excludes pages from that nav bar, but I can go in and include them if I want. I'm not going to talk about that one. Next Gen Gallery is just a photo gallery to make pretty pop-up photos when you need it. RPX is a system that allows me to do partnering with various sites so that there's Facebook Connect and things like that. So if I'm logged out and I want to leave a comment, there's lots of ways to deal with spam. This is a new way for me, but I like it. I can click down here and say leave a verified comment using, and then it lets me sign in using Twitter or my Google account or my LinkedIn account. Subscribe to comments you already know because I'm using it for the www Time site. It allows you to have other people get your comments once you've done them. And thank me later ties into that. The first time you leave a comment on my site, it automatically sends you a thank you note saying, I love you, you've left a comment on my site, please do it again, etc. WordPress admin bar. You'll notice right across the top here, it looks like it's part of my browser, but in fact it's part of this site. Actually, it's not working. It's bounced off because it's too wide. But this lets me do a lot of the things straight from the front page without having to go back into my dashboard. There's one of these for Drupal as well. They're very convenient. One of the things I might want to do is manage my WordPress database. Remember, we talked a little bit about backing it up. If you don't want to go in and do that through phpMyAdmin or something, this will do it. You could do it with one click and it backs it up, and then you can download it. You could actually set it up so that it will do things like periodically do this and email you the database and things like that. Supercache is almost, because you're probably using a shared host, Supercache is really important. What it does is it takes the dynamic stuff and puts it in a cache so that it can deliver that stuff as if it were a static page. So what that does is it means that you don't need computer processing, just that very simple grab a page and deliver it. And particularly if you get hit with, say, something from Digg, and you get thousands and thousands of visitors within a few hours, you really need that, otherwise your site will shut down. Yet another related posts plugin. There are lots of related post pairing plugins. This is yet another one of them. This one goes through and tries to find other posts that you've made that are related to the one you've just posted, so you can send. This is supposed to increase stickiness, right? So you can send people to other posts they might be interested in. Frankly, this won't be very good for you unless you already have been blogging for some time and you have other posts that are related. When you just start out, this will just be useless. But once you're there for a while, it can be useful. I think I've covered most of the ones that I'm using. I'll set up a link where it goes back and talks about an iPhone theme. This gives us, by default, we didn't have a mobile theme. I could create my own mobile theme, but frankly, mobile themes tend to be kind of boring. And this gives you, I don't know how well you can see this, not well at all. But this puts it in a format that is much more friendly for the phone, and you don't have to then do your own theme. It creates a mobile theme that is standard for iPhones and Droids and things like that. And actually, there's one of those built into the SEO package as well, a different mobile theme that you can use. So basically, that's what I'm using. I'll list some others that I'm not using that are also good, things like Sociable and other plugins. What really makes a solid blog is making use of these, extending it in the way that you want. I haven't even talked about some of the more extreme ways, because this is a very basic blog that I'm doing. But you can do things like having shopping carts. I haven't talked about bringing in advertising. All of these things are things you can add with the thousands and thousands of plugins that are now available. And so I encourage you, the best way to find out is installing these are very straightforward. You say you want it new, you search for it, you click on it, you activate it, you go. In many cases, you do have to go get an API. In some cases, you have to make sure that your plugins aren't clashing. But since these are, in many cases, free and very sophisticated, it's worth just installing it, seeing if it works, and if it doesn't, take it back out. Always good to do backups in case something goes wrong, but I have only very, very rarely had a problem with a plugin kind of going rogue and messing up a site. So generally, it's an easy process to just install it, and if you like it, use it, and if you don't like it, take it right back out. All right, see you next time.